Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Michaela Kerrison, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Philip Bywaters. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Eltham College Research, Victoria. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. If you are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Trooper Allan John Laverty. Allan Laverty was born in 1890 in the village of Binder near Crookwell in New South Wales. He was one of 5 children born to John Laverty, a grazier, and his wife, Mary Rosanna. He received his education at Burke Street Superior School and was working as a stockman when the First World War broke out in 1914. Allan Laverty enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 14th of August 1915. He was assigned to the 12th Reinforcements of the 7th Light Horse Regiment and embarked on the 18th of November 1915 on board the troopship Persic. Laverty arrived in Egypt, where he joined other new recruits and veterans of the Gallipoli campaign. By April, Laverty's unit had joined the forces defending the Suez Canal from the Turkish advance across the Sinai Desert. In May, he wrote to his mother, "We are at present occupying a deserted camp of the English yeomanry. There are signs of fighting a few miles out, dead men, horses and camels and gear strewn about. We have not seen much of the enemy except a few Bedouins and Turks we have captured. I may not be able to write regularly, but remember, no news is good news." His unit took part in the attack on Romani in August 1916, which marked the beginning of the Allies' drive from Egypt into Palestine. The next morning, the Turks surrendered, and it was discovered that the main group of the enemy had departed during the night. A general advance was ordered, and the Turkish forces were on the run. Laverty's letter continued, "We engaged the rearguard while other troops advanced on the flanks and captured thousands of prisoners. Several of my mates have been wounded, none seriously, I think. I was one of the lucky ones and haven't a scratch." Following their success at Romani, the 7th Light Horse Regiment spent the rest of the year engaged in patrol work around the region. In early 1917, the Allied advance towards Jerusalem halted before Gaza. On the 26th of March 1917, 2 British infantry divisions attacked the city from the south, while mounted units, including Laverty's, attacked from the flanks and the north to surround Gaza. The mounted regiments quickly stepped through, capturing the high ground to the north and beginning their advance into Gaza. But with the lack of progress by the infantry and fears over water supplies, they were ordered to withdraw at dusk. The next morning, the Allied commanders realised victory had been within reach and they attempted to resume the attack. By this stage, the exhausted troops could no longer fight, and Turkish reinforcements had already arrived, causing the attack to flounder once more. Laverty was sent to hospital suffering from sunstroke as well as some apparent internal bleeding. His condition gradually worsened as he was sent from hospital to hospital before finally arriving on the 19th General Hospital in Alexandria. There, he began to show signs of shell shock and manic attacks before becoming depressed and detached. The medical board decided that Laverty would not be able to return to the front. He boarded the troopship Euralia on the 21st of May 1917 to return to Australia for discharge. On the voyage, Laverty's condition worsened, and at Cape Town in South Africa, he was admitted to Valkenburg Mental Hospital, suffering from depression and memory loss. He remained there until August 1917, when he continued his journey to Australia. Laverty was admitted to Brofton Hall Military Hospital in Sydney for treatment. Though his doctors agreed he was severely depressed and suicidal, they decided he was rational and no risk to others. He was granted leave to return to his family home in Goulburn. But Laverty's condition did not improve, and his father made plans to take him back to Brofton Hall Hospital. His father woke early on the 29th of December but could not find him in the house. He found Trooper Laverty's body in the backyard. Police concluded that Laverty had died from a close-range gunshot wound to his chest. His father noted that Laverty had been at his brightest before the war, but had been moody and avoided company since his return. An inquest into Laverty's death determined that he had died by suicide while temporarily insane. He was buried on the 30th of December 1917 in Goulburn General Cemetery, where he lies today. Beneath the inscription, "He gave his life for others." Trooper Allan Laverty was 27 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Trooper Allan John Laverty, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony for this evening. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.